you know, I think the first steps that I did, and which most people should probably, anyone in this entrepreneurship space should do, is to try and do tremendous amount of research, because this whole startup game is very tricky. And the more and more research you can do, the more you can arm yourself with knowledge, the better equipped you will be. And so that's what I did basically. I read a lot. I checked out all the products that were available in the world, what other countries were doing, what India was doing, what the economics could be, what the financials could be. And post that, I had to make a proof of concept. I had to make a minimum viable product in the beginning. And in what happened in my case was, I unfortunately did not have a mechanical engineering background. I did not have a business background, no manufacturing background, none of that. So teaching myself all of those things in the beginning, I took a lot of time, right? So that's mostly what the beginning, like kind of 12 months went into, figuring all of that stuff out and getting convinced that this is really a potential and this is really a possible thing that can happen. So in the beginning, developing itself was a big challenge because not a lot of development tends to happen in India, and there tends to be little support, especially for low volumes in the beginning. And so we had to struggle with that. Post that, some of the key challenges were, I think the biggest challenge I would like to put out there is, the kind of garbage that we have in India is tremendously hard. It's by far the most difficult type of garbage you can find anywhere in the world. Like, believe me, like Europe and US have it easy. So their machines tend to be actually more lighter duty kind of configuration. And ours has to be way more tougher. So there were all those technological challenges. But the first time, we kind of got convinced this would work was in the beginning. During our initial development, our machine was able to pick up 5 coconuts in a row. And coconuts is pretty hard to pick up, right? Like, it's a big thing, it's heavy. And when we were able to do that, we were like, all right, so now we've got the necessary firepower to do this, and there's some real potential here. So that's how it went. First time was, I had a friend, and he was, interestingly, so he's getting married to this, a person, and her family, so he also was working with me, and her family saw this machine in Dehradun, and they were like, we have seen your machine. So it was a very, it's very interesting when you get to hear these stories, when relatives see and close friends see these machines, and they call you and they tell you that, this is really good stuff, this is really amazing. So that is definitely nice to hear. And that's how the first time story was for me. In particular, 2 achievements I can say. First was in about 2017, when we made this product. In the beginning, when we went to our local authorities, we didn't get so much enthusiasm. So we were kind of skeptical, what is going to happen. And also, breaking into government red tape and bureaucracy is probably one of the biggest challenges in this sector. So for us, in 2017, I had the opportunity to present to the Joint Secretary of Swachh Bharat Mission, right? He's kind of the commander in charge of the entire Swachh Bharat Mission. And when we showed it to him, he was absolutely thrilled to see this, right? And he called a lot of, his officers, and he said, this is what we have been looking for, right? A simple vacuum machine which can run in rural India, which can run in narrow streets. This is how imagine a cleaning machine for India, not like those big truck machines which cost crores of rupees. I simply cannot imagine those to be an Indian solution of scale. And when he said that, and he said that, what you have done is really something that we have been looking for. And when the Joint Secretary of Swachh Bharat Mission says that, that really gives you the confidence that, okay, we've really done something. So I think that those words and that motivation right there, I would consider one of the biggest, motivators. And secondly, recently we were just, awarded a spot on the prestigious Forbes 30 under 30 list. And that also goes to show that this is something of international worth, and what we have done has meaning, and that's really satisfying to know. Well, it feels good for sure because after 5 years of work and so much struggle, it's definitely nice. But I think there are 2-3 parts that played here. First is uh, this was a very latent need that India had, and so we just kind of uncovered it. Like, I mean, everyone wishes that garbage would disappear from Indian street, right? That is just something that every Indian would wish. So it was a very strong innate need that everyone had. Second was that vacuuming it up kind of, it just clicks to your mind when you see it, right? Like, it just makes logical sense. And third was obviously the kind of machine, the demonstration, and being able to pick up heavy garbage, establishing ourselves, proving ourselves everywhere. So we have demoed in Uttarakhand, we have camped there for months, we have demoed in Chennai, we have demoed in Gujarat, we have machines running in Nagaland. So sheerly just doing your best to go out there, show it to the world, and convince everyone one person at a time. So definitely tremendous legwork has gone into it, and kudos to my team to pull that off. Yeah, so technologically it's always easier to control any kind of pollution at source than once it's outside. Once it's outside, it's always way more harder. That's the problem also with pollution, particularly air pollution, right? Air is a big place, and it interacts with all kinds of air, right? There are jet streams that go up in way up at high altitude, so air constantly mixes. So it's not easy to catch pollution in one place. And so while air purifiers and all of these are great ideas, but the first and foremost approach for any pollution control mechanism should be to put checks at source. So in our case, the biggest source of pollution for dust, in fact, tends to be roads, right? Just imagine the roads of any city are a lot, and there is just so much dust on them. And every time a vehicle passes, just some or the other, micro dust, particulate matter kind of springs into air, and it adds to the pollution. And more importantly, it adds right at our breathing level, right? It adds at ground level. So dust on road is one of the worst polluters. And also what happens, is something that we don't really appreciate fully, is when vehicles pass, their emissions, nitrous oxide and ash, all of that mixes with the dust, and that dust then comes in the air, and that's how these pollutants also come in the air. So one of the best mechanisms to control this pollution is to just remove all of this dust and to carpet cities end to end. So carpeting cities end to end is already something the government is doing. It's what is done in the Western countries. But vacuuming these up is definitely one of the best ways to go, and that's where Jatayu has kind of really shown that it can do something. Cleaning roads is obviously important, and towards that end, just in the next couple of months we're launching 2 new machines. One is a vacuum sweeper, but it is completely indigenously designed for the unique Indian conditions that we have, and it's specially dedicated to the national highways of India. And we have a complete electric litter picker which can be used in high footfall areas. So that's something coming up immediately from our side. It's my dream that every street, every corner has the kind of air that the Himalayas have. They have the kind of, the trees are greener, the road is blacker, everything is just more high definition. And that's how I dream every corner and every nook and cranny of India is, and hopefully the whole world. It shouldn't be, what it is right now.